Hello, welcome to the Alone Show. I'm your host, John Alone. In this episode, no regulars, because reasons, as always. As for our guest, he's from Indianapolis, Indiana. He's a writer, writing coach, Himalayan track organizer, foundation president, investor, and a retired lawyer. Now that's a mouthful. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Jeff Rolsey.
Yes. Yeah, Jamie, thank you for having me once again. Good to be with you.
You're welcome. So, how's life?
Well, life is very good, except for one thing. I am scheduled to have surgery on February 21, which really kind of sucks because my hip has betrayed me after many years of athletics and trekking and climbing in the Himalayas. It's decided it doesn't want to work very well anymore and needs to be replaced.
Oh dear, that's unfortunate. Well, hopefully it all goes through well.
Yeah, yeah, thanks. Hopefully, yes, because I'm getting tired of feeling pain just to go walking around the block with my wife, which is quite a come down after climbing Himalayan peaks for quite a few years.
Yeah. So, and have you been up to anything since we've last met?
Yeah, my 14th book was published last month, and it was a lot of fun to write. It was kind of different uh, a book for me. Um, it's The title is A Hitchhiker's Big Adventure on the road from Indiana to New Orleans and I'm sorry, to Key West and New Orleans for Mardi Gras. And it's a fictional memoir of an 18-year-old who hitchhiked from northern Indiana all the way down to the southernmost point in the US, Key West, and then over to New Orleans for Mardi Gras. But it's based on an actual experience of mine because that's what I did. But because it was so long ago and I didn't keep a journal and I didn't even take any pictures because I just wanted to have the adventurous experience as an 18-year-old. But so it's partly my actual experience and partly made up to fill in gaps of memory. Um, anyway, so it was fun to revisit the memories of that sort of first big travel adventure of mine, but also have the freedom to to make up stuff to make it an even better story.
Wow, very nice. Is there anything that you're planning on doing for the next few weeks or months?
Well, I'm just beginning to contemplate my next writing project, and I haven't started it yet. But because I enjoyed writing that last book so much, um, I thought I would do another one kind of like that, uh, because the year after I hitchhiked across the country, one friend and I from my hometown in northern Indiana, we rode our motorcycles across the U.S. and then all the way down through Mexico to Mexico City and over to the um, west coast of Mexico, to a city called Mazatlan, where within about 6 hours, my traveling companion, Tim, got shot at our campsite, and I got hit by a car on my motorcycle. And so we ended up having to take a train and then hitchhike from California back home. So it was a hell of an adventure. And um, I'm thinking about my next project is to write a book about that.
Ah, very nice. Are there any jobs or opportunities you haven't done yet, but you want to do at some point?
Um, be president of the United States so I can fix a whole bunch of problems.
Ah, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, but I don't think I'm going to try for that.
Okay. It'd be pretty interesting though, honestly.
Yeah. Well, so how about you? What I'm here. What's been going on with you since our last chat?
Well, a lot of things. Um, University, of course, continuing with my podcast. There's a project going on to revive the defunct social media app, and what else? Uh, oh yeah, this and a start to my potential acting career once I graduate. So yeah, that's a lot
Oh,
for
really?
me going on.
Yeah. So have you been doing theater?
Oh yes, for many years I've been interested in theatre and took part in plays. I also did a bit of musical theatre every now and then, and of course I'm now focused on preparing myself next few years, which I'm certain I really want to do. And yeah,
Where are you in university?
so it's in my hometown in Manchester. It's Manchester Metropolitan University. It's well known, kind of, and it's world leading, they say. So there's something innovative going on from people that go there.
Cool. I loved being in college. I didn't really enjoy law school, but then I really loved going back to school to seminary, and I got a master's in divinity, which was kind of like being back in college, but at a bit higher level. But I actually, when I started college, um, and we say college instead of university here, but I had planned to be a theater major, and I only lasted a brief time because my first academic advisor, and please don't take this as an insult, but he took me aside and he said, "You're too intelligent to be a theater major." And so I'm, kind of shocked at that because I really enjoyed acting. Um, and so I said, "Well, what should I major in?" And he said, "Oh, you should major in theology and philosophy." And it just happened that he was the department chair of of theology department. So he got me to switch my major, and of course, it completely changed the course of my life. And I've looked back on that at times, it's like one of those I came to a fork in the road moments in life and think, how different my life might have turned out if I would have stuck with theater instead of going into the, theology, philosophy, and then law.
Ah, okay, I can see that. If you were given 500 acres of land, what would you use that land for?
500 acres. What would I
Mm-hmm.
use it for?
Yeah.
Um, Well, I really care a lot about the environment. In fact, we have a little plot of land that we've let completely go back to nature. And so, what I would love to do with more land is to just let it be natural, forested, or grasslands, whatever it might be, and put a hiking trail through it so other people could enjoy it.
Ah, all right then. What always makes you laugh?
You do. uh, oh, always. What always makes me laugh? Okay, my little kitty cat. I have a cat who's just 2 years old named Poppy, and Poppy is a very funny little gal. She loves to tumble around and play, and she's very amusing to watch because she does ridiculous things like she's walking along and all of a sudden she'll just tumble over and start squirming around um, on the carpet for no apparent reason other than she just wants to be squirmy or maybe she's trying to entertain us. Um, but yeah, Poppy always makes me laugh.
Fabulous. If you were hosting a dinner party and you can invite five guests who are either dead or alive, who would you invite?
Hmm. Well, um, I would invite people who are dead. I would invite people like Albert Einstein, Martin Luther King Jr., Abraham Lincoln. Um, I mean, to be fair to you Brits, I might welcome Winston Churchill, but I'd love to invite, definitely Socrates and Aristotle, the great minds and the great leaders of civilization. And I didn't even get into, Asia, like Lao Tzu, people like that. But, wouldn't that be wonderful to be able to sit down and have gathered together, some of the greatest minds of the history of civilization?
Hmm, yes, that seems pretty interesting. What improved your life quality so much you wished you did it sooner?
Wait, I'm sorry, I missed the first part of that.
What improved your life quality so much you wish you did it sooner?
Ah, uh, well, I'm hoping this hip surgery will improve the quality of my life so I can get back to hiking and climbing and playing sports. Um, and friends who've had this surgery have told me I should have done it sooner because this last year I've been kind of limping around in pain. So, I can't. I guess I can't know since it's the future that it will definitely improve the quality of my life. But all the information I have, the surgeon and my friends who've had this surgery tell me it will. So I'll just stick with that.
Yes, indeed. What could you give a 40-minute presentation on without any preparation?
Well, there's actually a number of things because I taught a class at two local universities here, Marian University and Butler University, about philanthropy and how to do philanthropy the right way. So I could easily give a talk about sort of the history of philanthropy dating back into the Old Testament and Deuteronomy 15, where kind of at least the earliest literature in the Western canon we have where it starts describing, uh, giving, giving up of your own material wealth for the benefit of those less fortunate. So, yeah, philanthropy.
Fantastic. Would you sleep on the wall or sleep on the ceiling?
I don't think I'd want to do either, but since I have slept in a bivy bag hanging on the side of a mountain. I could rig up. Well, I could do it either from the ceiling or the wall, but the wall would be easier. So I'd sleep on the wall in a bivy bag.
Hmm, interesting. Who was the last person you've talked to?
Oh, my wife this morning, Alicia.
Ah, that's nice.
Well, other than you. And also, I guess I should include Poppy because I had some words with her too.
Ah, okay. What natural landmark would you like to see someday?
Hmm. Gosh, I've seen so many. Uh, what national landmark would I? Oh, okay. Victoria Falls. Haven't
Ah,
seen Victoria Falls, and that would be spectacular.
oh yes. What's the best way to start the morning?
For me, every morning for the last 2 years starts with me feeding and then playing with Poppy for a little while, and then getting a cup of tea.
Ah, nice.
See, I went to school one summer uh, in London, and growing up in Indiana, I never drank tea, but because we had tea time, uh, I developed, like you Brits, a love of tea. So I've developed sort of a routine of I have tea in the morning and then coffee later in the afternoon.
Ah, I can see that. What was the strangest dream you've had?
Wow. Uh, Strangest dream I've had. Oh man. You know, nothing's really coming to mind. I don't dream. I mean, I don't recall. I mean, I guess we all dream if we get into a deep sleep every night, but I usually don't recall the dreams I have. Probably maybe twice a week, I'll recall a dream, but then by by the time I'm having my tea, I've usually forgotten it. So I can't even, I'm sorry to disappoint, but I can't even really call up a particular um, strange dreams, although, I've had plenty of strange dreams, I'm sure. I just can't remember any right now.
Hmm, alright then. If you could live anywhere else in the world, where would it be?
Well, um, I I loved the summer I spent in London. I had just an amazing, wonderful experience, and growing up in a small town in Indiana, that was my first experience of living in a city. And then after that, I lived in Chicago for a while, and I've been in Indianapolis now for a long time. Um, but Yeah, I mean, my wife is a Anglophile. She would absolutely love living almost anywhere in England, but she loves London, goes back every other year. So, it doesn't sound all that exciting, I'm sure to you, but I'll go with London.
Alright then, very good. Have you heard of a drink called a banana friche?
Uh, I can't say that I have, and I'm not much of an alcohol drinker. I mean, when I was younger, I certainly was, and too many times to excess. But yeah, no, I don't know what it is. Although I do eat a banana every day.
Okay, very good. Well, actually, banana friche is a milkshake slash smoothie, which has all the tingly sensations in the world.
Huh. Well, that sounds great.
Yes.
I'll have to try it.
Nice. How did you spend your last birthday?
My last birthday. Okay. Uh, wow. That should be easy to remember. Um, I'm pretty sure I was at home, and I'm also pretty sure my wife. Oh, I do remember. Yes, my wife took me out to a very expensive restaurant in downtown Indianapolis. And yeah, so that's how we celebrated my birthday.
Hmm, interesting.
Well,
What is
I
the
don't
most
know. It's not that interesting. It's yeah, pretty quotidian, but yeah, it was a good time.
okay.
But
What is the most comfortable piece of clothing you own?
the most expensive piece of clothing?
Comfortable.
Oh, comfort. Sorry. Your British accent. Comfortable. Okay. Well, actually, I'm wearing it right now. I really like these sort of fluffy fleece pullovers or zip ups, and I'm almost every day. If I don't have to dress up for any reason, I wear either a zip up fleece or a pullover fleece.
Wow. That's kind of cool, I guess.
Well, it is comfy.
It sure is. What would be the first thing you would do if you won the lottery?
Hmm. Well, because I already have plenty of money, I would give it to one of my favorite charities. So, or at least most of it. Uh, and the two foundations I'm involved with, I think, do very good work. So they would definitely get some of it. And one is the Vasa Village Foundation, where we uh, uh, pay, pay to help build basic infrastructure over in this remote area called Vasa in Nepal. And the other is here in Indiana. It's called the Scientech Foundation of Indiana, and it uh, financially supports STEM, science, technology, engineering, medicine, education for kids. And so we uh, uh, pay for, or at least pay partly for, about 20 to 30 educational programs around the state of Indiana, which bring in kids to study STEM. So, universities that have STEM summer camps, schools that need equipment, like we just bought a couple laser printers for a school that the school didn't have the money for the laser printers, um, or laser cutters, sorry, 3D printers, and we bought 3D printers for schools. So um, that kind of thing, scholarships. Yeah, so those I would give most of it away uh, to those two foundations.
That's great. What is the one thing you can't live without?
Mm. Well, I have to say, my wife, Alicia. Uh, and if she listens to the podcast, I'm sure I'll get a hug and a kiss for that. But yeah, at least I would I would not want to live without her.
Nice. If someone wrote a book about you, what do you think its title would be?
he challenged himself.
Hmm, interesting. I never thought of it that way. This is a crazy one. What would you do if someone deployed 10,000 spiders but suddenly made the world a fly-free zone?
If somebody deployed 10,000 spiders and made it a fly-free zone,
Yeah, like there's no flies anymore.
no flies, yeah. What would I do? Hmm. Well, I'd be really concerned because without flies, uh, the whole ecosystem would probably be in danger because, as we know, uh, the bigger creatures feed on smaller creatures, and uh, not being an environmental scientist, I'm not sure what the cascading effect would be, but I'm sure it would be pretty bad. So I would organize a militia to fight the spiders to and free the flies.
Okay, cool, cool. Who was the funniest person? Wait, I already asked you that. Never mind. Would you consider yourself to be an extrovert or an introvert?
Yeah, I'm naturally an introvert. I was a very shy child, but I learned probably by the time I was in junior high or high school that being an introvert often worked against um, getting what I wanted in society and in school. So I've sort of forced myself to at least appear to be more of an extrovert. So and I know it's kind of a lame way of answering, but I'm naturally more of an introvert, but I behave often like an extrovert.
Ah, alright then. Have you met anyone famous?
I guess it depends on, how famous you mean. When I was at the University of Chicago, uh, I met Milton Friedman, the famous economist. I met Saul Bellow, uh, the famous author. So uh, those two. When when I was a little kid, very little kid. I mean, I don't even remember this. Um, but Richard Nixon and Pat Nixon came to our town, and because my parents were active in the Republican Party, I'm told that as a small child, I met Richard and Pat Nixon, and I've met Kurt Vonnegut Jr., the famous author, um, and actually met him in a really funny way because my two boys and I, when they were little kids, we bicycled downtown in Indianapolis, and we saw a whole bunch of people gathered by the on the bank of the canal, and the Indiana Historical Museum was having a grand opening event. So we rode our bikes up there, and we just kind of stood up off to the side of where all these people were gathered. And then I noticed this tall man with a droopy mustache and curly hair was standing there, and he leaned over and patted the boys on the head and spoke a few words to us. And then all of a sudden, he went over to the microphone, and he was the main speaker, and it was Kurt Vonnegut. So that was a really winsome little meeting of somebody famous,
Ah,
completely by accident.
that's crazy. kind of music do you often listen to?
Hmm. Well, I have kind of eclectic taste. I mean, I really enjoy almost any music that's well performed, well played. But what I listen to the most, two genres. Um, uh, 60s soul music like Motown. I love that. And I also like country folk music, so especially kind of, classical 60s, 70s country folk music. And I love the British Invasion music, which was when I was a kid, that's what the Beatles, the Stones, the Who, that's what was really wildly popular in America. And I think there's, I don't know if you agree with this, but I think there's something about when you're maybe an early teenager, the music that, really hits you then just stays with you your whole life. And at least that's been true for me. I mean, I like all kinds of other music, but um, when it comes to just, sitting there, what do I want to tell Alexa to play? I'll usually go with Motown, British Invasion, or country rock from the 60s and 70s.
Wow, nice. And that is all we have for this episode. It was great having you on, Jeff, talking about your journey since we last met, and hopefully all goes well with your operation and everything else. It's been fabulous having you on again.
Oh, thanks so much, Jamie. I really appreciate it. You're a lot of fun to talk to, and you come up with some of the wild and craziest questions I've ever asked on as a guest on a podcast. So you take care, my friend, and I hope we will talk again in the future.
Me too. And until next time, stay tuned for more.